Lakini venye hii situation imetupeleka mbio hivi, I hope that you're doing all that you can and all that you need to do to keep yourself and everyone around you safe. As for me, leo nimeamua kujipeleka date hapa kwetu. Mbele self love ama
So when the new comes and the old goes, feel like you can't do nothing on your own. Don't even know where to go, just head back to the start where the gravity's low. Every day's a day for something new. There's no limit on grace, so I say be you. No worries when life holds you down, cause you can't be drowned when you keep on falling up.
Niaje watu. It's been a while since we've been here, but I'd just like to welcome you back to my channel. And if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and check out the other videos that we have here. It's been a tough period trying to navigate this pandemic as a creative, but the only thing that I can take solace in is the fact that I can practice my craft while I'm still at home, and even get better and explore different forms of content that I had never explored before. For today, we'll be focusing on stop motion. I know that most of you are wondering what a stop motion video is, and that is what I will get to in this video. I can describe stop motion video as a filmmaking technique where your subject is physically manipulated between frames in small increments such that when you play them back in succession, they will give you the illusion of movement. It's a very good technique to try out because it is a variation of your filmmaking work, and it will also make you more adventurous because you will step out of your comfort zone and try out something that you have never tried out before. It is a good technique because you can use the images you have separately as a photo set, or you can combine them and use them as a video like I'll show you here in this video. Hizo videos ni kwa mob. Anyway, so let's get into the first tip. Tip number 1. When shooting stop motion video, it is always important to plan your shoot beforehand. This is because it will enable you just to plan out your compositions beforehand, and even just to plan the range of motion and direction of motion of your subject in your shots. It is also beneficial because it will help you list down the requirements you need to make this shoot successful in terms of equipment, in terms of what you are shooting, and in terms of just even the place you are shooting, because you will need to have unchanging lighting conditions so that each and every one of your images looks the same. It is also important to plan your shoot because if you have properly planned out your shots, then it will make it so much easier for you during post-production. Tip number 2. When shooting stop motion video, always try as much as possible to keep everything steady. You should try to keep your shot steady, you should try to keep your background steady, you should try to keep your camera steady, and even just try as much as possible to use manual exposure if you can, so that you are in full control of the image that you get from your camera. Also, using manual exposure is important because it will give you consistent looking images throughout your entire image set. In terms of equipment, always try to keep your camera on a tripod because you need to have the same looking shot in each and every one of your image to ensure that the stop motion flows smoothly. Also, if you have the option, try and use a delayed shutter release because this will help keep your camera more stable when taking the actual image. It is always important to keep everything steady because If your camera moves, if your subject moves, if your background moves, if your frame changes, then the whole animatic is ruined. So be very mindful of that. So tip number 3, when working with stop motion video, always try to shoot as many frames as possible. This is because, for example, when working on a 24 frames per second timeline, you will need about 24 frames for every second of your stop motion. This means that if you want your stop motion video to be 10 seconds, you will need approximately 240 to 300 frames so that your stop motion can move as fluidly as possible. The more small increments you make to the subject as it moves in your frame, the more fluid your stop motion will look. So in terms of frames, try and shoot as many images as possible, because you will never know just how much more you will need when working in post-production. So I hope those tips will be beneficial to you if you decide to work with stop motion video. And just a quick rundown: tip number 1 was always plan your shoot. Tip number 2 is try and keep everything steady. Tip number 3 is shoot as many frames as possible. And if you follow these tips well, and the steps that I have shown you as well in my BTS, then it will be easier for you just when you want to begin working with stop motion video. And before I forget, here is the complete sequence of my stop motion breakfast. Play!
Protect your life right now, protect your life. Protect your life right now, protect your life. Protect your life right now, protect your life. Now check it out.
Well, that's it from me for today. And if you try out making a stop motion sequence, you can follow me on IG. I'll leave my links down below, such that you can share your results with me. And even if you have any more questions, you can do so in the comments, or just head on over to my IG, because I'm also responsive there. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Haya basi. So that's it. Ni hayo tu kwa sasa. Nimeka kando ya dirisha, magari zinanikamata. So I was just trying to keep this as short as possible. Until next time, watu. Peace.